Hi everyone, I hope this finds you well. One of the reasons why I make these videos is because very often when we go through things, we can start to feel like we're the only ones going through them. And when that's the case, we can start to feel that there's something broken or problematic about our lives. And so one of the things that I've found is helpful is recognizing that rarely are my sort of problems or situations unique. And that a lot of the time, what I'm going through, other people are going through too. And there's something about that that is helpful because it sort of normalizes the human experience and the human condition in such a way that it can help to settle us down and help us navigate it better. And so I wanted to hop on today and share another thing that is kind of real for me at the minute, which is for the last, I don't know, year or so, certainly, I felt like I'm going through a lot of transition. And there are things that I used to enjoy that I'm not finding are quite as, I'm not quite as energized by. And then there are other things I'm like, why am I doing that? That suddenly I'm being pulled to. And it's been interesting for me. And what's interesting also is the fact that I think often when you go through transition, or when we go through transition, we can make up stories about what is or isn't valuable, or what is useful and what is not useful. And we look at our kind of skill sets and the things that we do, and we put them in sort of little boxes and go, yeah, I should be doing more of that because that makes me a worthy human being and I enjoy that. And I should be doing a lot less of that because that sucks and it doesn't really make good use of me and I don't really contribute anything. And we put everything into a box as if we know what we're talking about. And I don't think we often do. But I also want to share that I'm not sure that our experience of doing things really comes from those things. And I say that because as part of what's going on with me, like there's been a massive change to my day-to-day routine. And I haven't liked a lot of it at times. Let's say I've been a bit grumpy with it, sort of resisting it at times and going, I should be doing other things. And why am I doing this? Exactly the things I just listed. And I was like, what's going on with that? And I remembered a story. I remembered something that happened to me years ago when I was in the very early stages of building a coaching practice. And I wasn't doing so great with it. And I was very annoyed about it. And I realized I had a conversation with my wife about it at the time. And she said to me, well, why don't you go back to doing IT, which was sort of what I did early in my career. And I got really annoyed because in my mind I'd left IT because I didn't enjoy it and it wasn't a good fit to me. And I was like, why am I doing this? And so when she said it, I resisted it. But I also had enough insight at the time to know I'd learned enough about where my experience was coming from to be at least curious about the statement, I can't be happy doing IT. And of course, what ended up happening was I ended up going back to IT. And because I knew more that my experience comes internally from my mind rather than from the thing itself, I actually settled into it more and I enjoyed it more. And this story came back to me the other day when I was busy being grumpy about the new routine because I started to realize that there were moments when I was actually enjoying what I was doing and I was actually present and I was in flow and I was actually doing a reasonable job of the things that I was doing. And I was like, what's going on here? And I realized, oh, in those moments, I dropped out of the shoulds and the judgments. I had so many judgments about what I should be doing and what would be more valuable and what's better. And they were leading me to resist what I was actually doing. But in those moments when I was actually enjoying what I was doing, I wasn't in all of that. And it was like, I'm not going to tell you it was a new insight, because like I said, I'd had this insight before, but it was new here. It was new for me to see that actually I didn't need to be doing anything other than I was doing in order to feel meaningful and purposeful and enjoy it. And in fact, that sense of meaning and purpose and enjoyment was just what was automatically there when I wasn't in judgment and in my shoulds. And so I thought, actually, this could be really helpful for people to see, because if you're sitting there at the moment in transition thinking, what am I going to do with myself? Well, what if you could get curious about where your sense of meaning, purpose, and enjoyment come from? Are they actually coming from the thing? Or is it possible that the more you start to see through the judgments and the shoulds, you could start to have a more enjoyable, purposeful experience of doing whatever it is that you're doing? And what I found for myself historically, I suspect will be the case here. I don't know. But what I found for myself is that we're never really doing the wrong thing. We just think we are. And so the more we settle down into what we're doing and we stop taking our judgments and should so seriously, the more we become present, the more we see opportunities, the more higher thinking comes through us all. And we find there is an intelligence to why we're doing the thing that we're doing that we didn't realize was even there. So just putting that on the table for you. I hope it's helpful. Let me know in the comments below what comes up for you. And yeah, I send you lots of love. Take care. Bye.